Let me tell you my story before, like, so you can connect to me. I was born and raised in St. Petersburg, Russia. Both of my parents are musicians. My mom is pianist, my dad is flutist, and they really struggled financially raising a kid, to the point that my mom had to quit music forever. And they really made sure that I'm not choosing that path. So as a good Jewish kid, I had to be a lawyer, which I was. Honestly, like 3 years ago at this moment, I was a senior lawyer at one of the top biggest like tobacco company in the world. They own like Marlboro outside of the United States, and if you travel and smoke Marlboro, that's probably what I did. And I hated it every single day. Of course, I was super creative, and I just was waiting for the moment I can quit and do something creative, and I didn't know what is it. So I moved here. I was taking film classes first, then I took one fashion class just for fun. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. So that's kind of my story. Let me show you some of my work before we'll talk about things. I'm really into what I'm doing. I'm really visual, and I'm so happy I really found what I want to do and keep going, and I want to be a creative director. That's my goal. I've been working here with very great stylists for like marketing campaigns for North Face, all the marketing campaigns for Walmart.com, like some really great sustainable local designers, Sarah Wheeler. So that was really awesome. So why fashion is so important? I've heard like you've been talking about the image, and probably it's not new to you, but people can actually see you when you're performing, right? And they probably judge you. And even though like I know you will like prove them wrong when you start to perform, but the thing is you can do better. And with fashion, there's so many opportunities. First of all, like it's a statement. You can convey anything you want to say to the world, basically, with how do you look. It can definitely help you to grow your audience. You know, like now with social media, people can follow you just because you look great, right? And then maybe like pay attention to your art. And third, but like totally not least, it can help you to build your empire. You know, who out of the rappers doesn't have like their own line? It's hard to say who doesn't have, right? Like, and currently with what's going on in the world, like, you know, like Rihanna signed a contract with Louis Vuitton. It's a huge deal. Like, not only she's the first black woman who signed a contract with high-end fashion company, she does like literally a revolution in fashion, and you can do too. But in order to like any fashion company to come to you and offer you to do something, obviously they don't like design it themselves. I mean, Kanye did once, it wasn't really great. But you have to like express you're interested, and it depends on how you look. You know, like you can look just okay, and probably you won't be the first person they will think of. But you can just express some interest in how you look, and they will probably think of you. How to do it? So, three key factors you probably should think of is silhouette, color, and trend. And I will start with silhouette because, you know, with the color, sorry. Honestly, I'm gonna reveal like a biggest secret ever. I didn't know that before like I studied fashion and everything, and this is like the biggest principle any design is implementing. It's called color wheel. It was invented by Isaac Newton like centuries ago. And it basically shows you like all of these like basic colors and how you can use them. Like the opposite colors are complementary colors. They're like next to each other. Analogous? I don't know how to pronounce it. But the thing is, you don't have to think about it. Just open this color wheel, like Google it. It's like the first thing that will pop up. And there are like more detailed color wheels with more subtle like tones and everything. And if you don't know what to wear, like how to mix and match all of these colors, you just open up the color wheel and you look at this, and you just mix and match it. Like, I will just show you some examples, and you will see, like, really everybody does it. Look at this. For example, on, like, left corner, like, red and yellow are the colors of a triad or whatever. So red and green, they are the opposite colors, same as brown and blue. So every picture you see, like in the magazine or in internet, it's not random. They staged it very carefully, and they knew it, and they just, it's not hard when you know it, right? You just like pull out the right color t-shirt, that's it. Another maybe like more easier way, I don't know, like some people use it, like Kanye really does it, it's just to go monochromatic, which means you just use like kind of like same tone with the same color, and except with this picture. But yeah, it kind of like, it looks neat, and it will look good. It also doesn't require like much, I don't know, brain to do it. You just like do all black, like all gray. It also will add you some height, like if you're looking to add like some height to your figure, if you do monochromatic, you will look taller. And this is how he just implemented all this like color wheel. It's not random how like blue and green looks good together on the color wheel. It's like next to each other. Speaking about silhouette, like we all build differently. We all have like different body type shapes and everything. And it also comes to design principle, how to dress according to your body shape. There's like tons of information online, so you just have to determine what types of body you have. So for men, it's like mostly a triangle, which is the most popular one, when your shoulders are wider than your hips. And in this case, you just want to balance your torso and your legs by wearing like kind of like maybe like a little bit bulky pants, so it looks more balanced and harmonic. Not like you have like a huge torso and like super skinny legs. Another body type is a rectangle, when your shoulders are almost the equal width as your hips. And in this case, you want to do maybe like the opposite. You want to do like more slim style of pants, add some patterns and color on the bottom of your body to draw attention to your torso. And the third type is kind of like an oval. And yeah, in order to maybe look better, you just most of the time like tuck your shorts in and wear a jacket. Like jacket is like a miracle for that body type. It like looks so much cleaner when you have a jacket over and no crop pants. How to do it on your own? Well, honestly, I would say if you have an opportunity to like work with a stylist, do it with a stylist, and not because like I'm promoting a stylist as a job, but everybody should do what they good at and focus on their work and their art, and you will do so much better with the person who focuses on you, who does it for you all the time. Like 100% of the time you can, they will like follow the trends. They will think of what can represent you the best, like your brand the best, and that's the best option. But until you have this opportunity, you can totally do it on your own, right? Like currently there's so many resources, like Google, Pinterest. Like Pinterest is really great. You can type anything you like looking for and find some inspiration and just try to implement it. Don't copy that. Like you should keep your personality, but just like, you can pick some ideas from there, and it's totally fine. I would totally encourage you to check out internationally. I don't know, maybe because I'm not from here, but this world outside. And for example, I picked a Russian guy on the left and a Japanese guy on the right, and they can have some pretty cool stuff that maybe will inspire you to try it, or like to move and create something even like cooler, better, like that will fit more to your personality. And I'm not encouraging you to like go crazy and be who you're not I don't know, like that doesn't fit you. Obviously, be you. You can just think about it, because like there's like totally nothing random on this picture, and like nothing random on what he's wearing. He didn't wake up like that. Same with like these two images, you know, like, so the picture on the left represents like the triangle body type, right? You see that the pants are kind of bulky and like balancing this triangle of his torso, and he looks like really great, and it's the right combination of like matching the color or something, like on the top, balancing white short, like that on the bottom. Same we see here, like kind of splitting body in like almost like equal parts. It's like all design principles. It's really international, because our eye is trained to like certain things, and we all see the world, like we all see the harmony, and we all see a disbalance when we see it. I mean, is it lit? It's totally okay. He looks good. Could he do better? Yes. Personally, I think. But it's not like, there's nothing wrong about it. And I really want to say, you guys as artists are like, especially hip hop artists, are the main source of fashion in the United States. You can do, especially in your genre, anything. Look at this babushka thing. This is like completely insane thing to do, but it's so cool. It's so inspiring. It's like, you're not like an opera singers, right? You can do whatever and it'll look good. Like, it's such a great opportunity to express yourself, and it will like influence other people. Like, look at this jacket and like the entire look. It was like obviously come from graffiti, from like street art, and now it's like high-end fashion. Look at this chains, like current like huge trend on like in women's accessories. Where do you think it come from? It was like 100% like hip hop culture, which now conquers like accessory. You go to Dior, any high-end store, you will see chunky chain in female accessory section. So just be yourself, be creative, explore, and inspire other people. I'm just so excited for you. I'm really so excited to be here for you, because I think, you know, like nobody should choose between like self-expression and doing what they love and like making a living, you know. And here in Bay Area, it's so hard, like it's so difficult. And thank you for this opportunity. I'm really honored to be here and to work with you and answer your questions and just be the best version of yourself. La, la, la. Thank you. I'm happy to answer your questions and happy to work individually with each and one of you. So, questions?
Can you include the questions to the one-on-ones? Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's, yeah.
Making music in the Bay Area, like you're not like in some, I don't know, like the number of people that want to be here in San Francisco in Levi's Plaza talking about music, trying to figure out their careers, like I don't know your social following, I don't know like how far you've gotten with your music, but you're in San Francisco. I mean, maybe you're in Oakland, but you're in the Bay Area, like working on music, and that in itself is crazy. Like in 30 years and 40 years, when you're looking back on this, this moment when you're like, how cool is this? Like, to just lean back and be like, maybe I'll write a song later today, and I'll do it here in the Bay Area. Like, so that's just your reminder. That's just to like remember to keep things like in perspective. That like you could be anywhere, but you're right here, and that's pretty wild. The other thing that I think about is like, whatever you're doing right now doesn't have to be the thing that you're doing in 1 year. So it's like, in 2009, I made a survival guide, and I was like, everybody's gonna want this survival guide. And it like wrote about all the things that were like important to the music industry right then. But if I look at it now, it talked about MySpace. It talked about like all these things that aren't relevant anymore. And I was like, how do you make a survival guide if it's like talking about things that get outdated in like 6 months, and gets outdated in like 6 days later? It's like not important anymore. So as passionate as I was about that, I was like, this is not the thing. So I started doing a radio show, because I was like, oh man, like radio, like local radio shows are like popular, and if I could talk to people on radio shows, that'd be so cool. And it got lonely. It's like sitting in a studio, like talking to a microphone without being able to see anybody and not knowing the impact you have. And it's like, okay, I can tell numbers. I know that like a few thousand people are listening each time, but it wasn't making me happy. It was lonely. So someone who had seen the photos I was taking at shows, someone who had seen the social media things I was doing, someone who was like, man, you're getting your hands deep into the music industry, like all these things that I want to be at, reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to do breakfast? And he at that time he pitched the idea of like, hey, we could start a record label, we could start a management company, we could start a like all these brick and mortar things that exist. And at the time I was just like, I don't want to make a brick and mortar thing. I don't want to like start a management label and start telling people like, oh, I am the label that you need to be on. Like, oh, like I know how to get you like all the listens. And it's kind of in the same time that like everybody was like freaking out about those 360 deals and saying like, you're just trying to get my money. And it's like artists are like not trusting the industry and like bringing things closer to them. But I had fun at that breakfast. Like I had fun talking to that guy, or to that, at that time, that guy, but now a friend, about just the industry. So I pitched him the idea of like, hey, how about we just have breakfast again? It was like, he's pitching all these grandiose ideas that like are tangible, that you actually know about, that like exist. And I just pitched him like, hey, what if we just met next week and had breakfast again, but we invited our friends? So we did that, and we were 5 people. And then I mentioned to those people like, hey, we should do this again, maybe next week. And so then we were 10 people, and then we outgrew the space we were sitting in. And suddenly we were drawing like 60 people to breakfast. And then someone pitched to me the idea of like, hey, can I do breakfast in Oakland? And I'm like, well, I don't have a trademark on the idea of like meeting for breakfast, but like you can have breakfast anywhere you want. And I thought about it, and I go, shoot, and I just created a brand. And so I was like, okay, well, that's when I started breaking out these books and going, okay, well, what does that mean? So it's like the same thing that you guys are doing right now, is you're trying to figure out your brand, and you're like, okay, cool, I have a thing, and how do you spread that thing out to people? So I had to start like making documents that I could share with other people, like an EPK or a press kit or whatever it is you're using to share your brand, so that when it went from San Francisco to Oakland, there was some synergy or some same that like it didn't suddenly change when it was in Oakland. And what's crazy is that wasn't the last city. So someone asked, well, I can't get to San Francisco or Oakland from San Jose. Can I start it in San Jose? And I was like, uh-oh, this like now suddenly I'm holding on to it with a rope, going like, I can't keep up, and I'm trying to slow it down, but it's like it won't slow down. And so like within a year or 2 or 3 from that, now we're in 30 cities. And it's basically people reaching out saying like, can we do breakfast in our city? Can we do breakfast in our city? Why isn't it in our city? And I'm like, do you know someone who wants to lead it in your city? Because it's all organic. It's all happening because someone says like, hey, I'll lead it. So we're in England now, and we're in Colombia and Toronto. So we've gone international. And I guess what I'm saying about that is it all kind of like with your guys' things, all needs to happen on like a pitch shift, and then like pitch and then shift. And it's like, if one thing's not working, it doesn't have to be the thing. And it's kind of like how like the people that work in here doing startup stuff, work on their apps is like whatever they put in the app store first isn't necessarily the thing. It's like they take the feedback and say, okay, like what I thought was my thing, like isn't necessarily what it has to stay till the end. It's like responding. I think the way I think about it is like kind of like startups, but it's also kind of like DJs. It's like if you guys are doing a show and you do one song and you realize that people are like freaking out for that song, maybe you don't have to follow your set and do the next song later. You go, man, that song killed. I'm gonna do another song like that and see it and kind of like progress along the way. Whereas sometimes rock bands don't always do that. They don't always like respond to their audience and they go straight down their list. And it's like, man, if you could build that energy, it's the same idea with your career. It's like shifting according to what caught. And then it's kind of like deciding, okay, well, maybe you're like, well, no, I'm that's not like okay, I get pushback sometimes when I say that. And people are like, oh, I'm an artist and I'm trying to do this art thing and I have this vision for how it's going to go and I don't want to respond to what people want. I want to do what I want and I want them to love it. And I go, well, that's fine. But like if you're trying to blow up big commercially, if you're responding to what people like about you, then that's a positive way to approach it. So that's a long rant. I got excited there for a second. So now you're like, okay, well, what do you do now? So Balanced Breakfast still meets. We used to meet every Thursday at 8 a.m. and we used to joke that like 8 a.m. meant you were serious. And then eventually, like after 2 years, that got really hard. So now like 9 a.m. means you're serious. And we meet every other week because it's just hard to meet every week. So it's like when the momentum started to like come down a little bit and like normalize, we responded to that normalization. So okay, well, there's still passion for it, there's still excitement for it, but now people are feeling a little bit more like a reasonable amount of meetings. So twice a month is pretty cool. And other cities do it like according to whatever works for them. And we talk about everything from like what you guys are doing, from social media to marketing to how to set up your email campaigns, how to set up your Facebook, your Instagram, then sound engineering, lighting, stage presence. We get into it all, and it's generally like kind of popcorn discussions, but sometimes there's guest speakers. And we started in 2013, so for 6 years I kept saying like, Balanced Breakfast is my hobby, Balanced Breakfast is my hobby, Balanced Breakfast is my hobby, and people kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, and like, so a year ago, or no, realistically 6 months ago, Balanced Breakfast became my thing. I stopped turning down freelance clients. I stopped saying no to artists to say, no, I can't help you with your branding, I can't help, like, come to a meeting, we'll talk. And it's I guess it's a poke at you guys. Is like you can only say no for so long before suddenly you have to say yes. And then kind of in my realm with that is like I said yes for the first person 6 months ago, and now I have like 12 freelance clients I'm working with. So guys like no, and I'm like I like working. This is kind of dark but real, but it's like sometimes there's not money in the music industry. Like there isn't, and there suddenly is. So I was like, I can't work with artists because like they don't have enough money to like pay for the things. And all of a sudden when I started saying yes, like the money was there, which is kind of wild. It's just like, I'm like, no, I can't work with artists. But then it's like, okay, well, maybe I can't work with one artist, but if I take on 15 artists, well, then I can sustain a livelihood. So trying to figure out how to not go crazy taking on 15 artists. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else I can pitch to you. So if you want to come to a breakfast, we're meeting this next Thursday, 9 a.m. at Psych Class on 7th and right off of Howard. It's a coffee shop. We meet upstairs. You don't have to bring anything. Just come, ready to talk. I believe our lawyer is talking, and he covers like licensing deals and covers how to protect yourself, how to set up an LLC, how to make sure that like people can't take your assets. They can only take your brand's assets. And if they try to take that, then you have a lawyer, and so they won't take that. So yeah, I got a 5-minute warning, but I mean, feel like I ranted hard enough.
That was insightful.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
I was like going a mile a minute. I guess we get to break down into single groups. So I was like, I won't ask you if you have any questions, but I have a business card I can give you when we talk, and we can cover anything. I got my master's in graphic design, so we can cover anything from design to marketing and also just community, because that's what I'm focusing on a daily basis. It's just kind of like actually knowing you guys and actually hanging out with you and not just pitching to you. So that's me. Mic drop. Yeah, I got